Hey Internet, it is time for Maximum Huge's segment. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
It is where we get to tell you about movies that have not come out yet because we are cool people who get to see these movies before you.
That's because we're cooler than you.
Yeah. So tonight we are going to review for you Captain America.
The First Avenger.
This movie we saw tonight at the Magnolia Theater in Dallas. And we're sorry to say that this movie sucked hardcore.
So terrible. Terrible movie.
It's a shame. One of the major things about it that was really confusing is...
Well, it's definitely not for the purists out there because, first of all, like, this movie starts out as a sequel to the Fantastic Four franchise. I mean, Chris Evans, as the Human Torch, is sitting there in his living room with the rest of Fantastic Four. I mean, Ben Grimm is there, you know, the Invisible Woman, Mr. Fantastic, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Dr. Doom crashes through the ceiling, and he takes, you know, Chris Evans, the Human Torch, and sends him back in time through this time vortex. And then all of a sudden, like, he's weak, but he still has his Human Torch powers, and he's, like, saying flame on, flame off, and flying around, and all of a sudden, like, the U.S. government's like, well, hey, you should be Captain America. So he has both Captain America powers and the Human Torch powers. So he's, like, shooting his gun, you know, shooting Nazis with flames, and it's just weird. I don't get it.
A major spoiler alert. That wasn't even in the trailer. I mean, come on. Another spoiler alert, like we said, is that this is in Nazi Germany in the 40s. World War II?
I mean, like, why is Captain America fighting Nazis?
I really don't have a clue. It's another major disappointment. I didn't see it coming, not in the trailers like we said, but that's just what the director chose to do. Mm-hmm. One of the things that was going on, what were they working on?
Well, the U.S. scientists, before they came up with the super soldier serum, they tried all sorts of different other things with, like, Captain-themed things. Like, they tried Captain Crunch, like the cereal, and then Captain Nemo, Captain Hook, like pirates. Like, I guess they want to get on the Pirates of the Caribbean train with that.
It was pretty cool, though.
Yeah, and then Captain Kirk, he's, like, shooting his phaser, going, Spock, Spock. Spock. And then, you know, and then he dies. It's just weird.
I actually really enjoyed that part. It may not have been for what they desired for, but I found it humorous. Another spoiler alert is that Captain America in this movie has some sort of shield. Mm-hmm. Like, it's made of something called vibranium.
Where did that come from?
That's not comic book. Anyway, he throws it and it can come back like a boomerang. It's not shaped like a boomerang, but you can get it. It can block bullets. It can do a lot of other stuff, like explode stuff. I don't know where they got that from. I mean, in some ways, the special effects are cool, but, I mean, he fought Red Skull, right?
Yeah, spoiler alert, Red Skull is in this movie, in case you hadn't figured that already. But turns out, like, Red Skull's power is that he has an extreme case of social anxiety disorder. And that's why his skin's so red. Like, he's constantly, like, freaking out, like... Half the time he doesn't even realize he's with Nazis. He's like, oh, Nazis, what? And then, like, yeah. You know, and then his skin gets really, really red, and then he uses that and, like, gives him super strength, and he can punch Captain America really hard because he's, like, so afraid and nervous. Yeah. So it's like, why is my skin red? And then that just makes it even more red. It's just weird.
Yeah, I actually thought it was pretty funny. In addition to that, the special features of this movie included a war horse that was ridden by Captain America named Manifest Destiny. Mm-hmm. Kind of cool name. And it actually does this one hoof stomp, like boom, on a tank. It's a Panzer tank for the Germans, and it just
doesn't even phase it.
It's I hope they actually make a movie about that. If they could take anything from this movie, make a movie about Manifest Destiny, because that horse... But we were really, really upset about this one part of the movie. It's probably the worst part.
Oh, yeah, like, it's... I mean, we're going to see this movie. We want to see Captain America, but halfway through, the script decides to have the U.S. government freeze him. Like, and then you don't get to have him the rest of the movie. And it's all because the main love interest, Peggy Carter... gives Captain America herpes, and then the U.S. government's like, well, we know what we're going to do about this. I mean, like, we turned you into the super soldier, but medical science can't cure herpes, so we might as well just freeze you, so hopefully at some later date we can, you know, cure herpes, and then you can be unfrozen and fight crime again, so.
I mean, 2 words for this movie, or 1 word, I guess.
Boring.
The second half is just like, what the heck? Like, there is no Captain America in this. We're just seeing little U.S. soldiers rolling around, fighting Nazis like
just like any other war movie at that point. It actually picks up a little bit because FDR shows up. And he's like becomes like the second hero of the movie, like
first hero after Manifest Destiny.
Yeah, but that too. But like his Parkinson's disease, of course, like put him in a wheelchair. He's like constantly shaking. And that's debilitating him to the point where he's in this wheelchair. But that wheelchair's got all kinds of like crazy weapons strapped to it, like machine guns, flamethrowers, rocket launchers. I mean, like, what else does it do?
I don't know. If you see Professor Xavier's like hover chair, it's kind of like that, but like a little bit more retro-y, more steampunk-like. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have like all the psychic abilities, but it can float over water and stuff. But it gets like Hitler at one point by the neck and like holds him there, and then I don't know, throws him to the ground. FDR is BA in this movie. Mm-hmm. He's my favorite president now.
For America.
Yeah.
He says that in the movie whenever he bashes him down on the ground.
I mean, you had like all the cool things that he did for us as a president, but we didn't get to see this. Good move on the direction. At the end of it all, I guess if you're going to see this movie, you should, just because you're going to see it. You're a comic book fan like us. We're going to see it. But, I mean...
My recommendation is that you go see Harry Potter again, because that Quidditch match between him and Voldemort at the end, stupendous.
Like, this, like, red face, I guess, embarrassment dude by Hugo Weaving doesn't even compare to Voldemort, throwing that Quidditch, getting that snitch. But Harry Potter actually did that. You can see that video right here. But anyway, we hope to do this again for you soon. We'll have one in the next week or a couple weeks. This is going to be a pretty good installment for you. It's spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
And glad that you joined us. Boom.